Oh, okay, let me start over. Hi, everybody. Dr. Kogan, you'll know me. I think what I'm going to do is start with the questions and see where we go. I don't have a lot of specific updates. I have a couple of subjects. We can check in, see who wants to hear what. The group is pretty small today, so we can make it a little more intimate. Okay, I'm looking for, there were two questions. One from Judy, the new CDC guidelines for those who are vaccinated. There are no restrictions for eating inside or outside and going to indoor gyms as well. You're in agreement. Do you feel we should still avoid those situations, wear masks? Okay, in addition to transportation, what other situations would you suggest we still wear a mask to avoid? So great question, Judy, thank you, because that was one of the topics anyhow. So CDC literally told us the following: if you're outside and you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask regardless, period. Just, you know, that's how I'm reading. If you, whether you're, if you're in closed area inside the building and everybody is vaccinated, again, you don't have to wear any protection. There are going to be situations where you will be required to wear them by the just establishment, right? So quite interestingly, by the way, the DC facilities mandate, healthcare facilities mandating masks for everybody. So the mandate has not been removed. So they basically overriding CDC because it's a local jurisdiction. You have to follow the rules of a given establishment, simply because if the business decides to have the masks on, you got to follow their policy. I think that's the standard current. Even if this, even if it doesn't agree with CDC, if you take off the mask, they have a full right to kick you out of the facility. So you'll have to deal with that, however you want to deal with that. So the other part of this question, it has to do more with like, what is my recommendation? Specifically, I'll give you two examples: the gyms and any kind of exercise facilities, because that's where the breathing is quite intense, right? So a lot of people are huffing and puffing. You're huffing and puffing. It means the exchange of, I almost said bodily fluids, but you know what I'm saying. Exchange of all of that is much more intense. I personally don't wear a mask anymore in places like this, and there are two reasons for that. One, if I see that facility is adequately ventilated, and they're supposed to check who's vaccinated, and all the current exercise facilities, to my understanding, are to tell people who are not vaccinated to wear the mask. And if anybody else wants to wear a mask, they're welcome. But everybody else who are vaccinated not supposed to wear a mask. I basically, because I started going to the martial arts class, it's completely impractical to wear a mask because mask falls off anyway. And when we're doing a sparring, a grappling, masks are off because you're just in the middle of grappling. Somebody puts your head like this, next thing the mask comes off. So it kind of doesn't really make any sense. But if you feel any uncomfortability, definitely just wear the mask. I don't think there should be, I no longer see in our martial arts class, and occasionally I now started going to gym, I don't see anybody saying anybody to anybody. Whether you wear a mask or not, everybody kind of don't care. I think we finally gotten over this kind of, oh my God, there's really sort of like tense. I have not had any tension around this issue. And you guys unmute yourself and feel free to comment if anybody have seen anything. I think even though CDC guideline confused us all because of how quickly they reverted from mask everybody, now no masks. But at the same time, I think it did take off some of the pressure. At least that's how I've been feeling lately. Questions about transportation. So when you're in transport, you're going to be mandated to wear a mask. I have not seen any agencies of transportation saying no masks anymore. So Judy, that is sort of just an irrelevant question because you won't be allowed to take the mask off anyhow. So for now, you have to just sit and wait. Question are going to be quite interesting. What about airplanes, right? You do take off the mask in airplane to drink or eat. Interestingly, I actually think it's potentially okay for two reasons. So one, airplanes are probably a lot safer than trains and buses because they have a specialized advanced HIPAA filter compliances. And if the airplane is flying, and the filtration is on, you probably in some way safer than in many other buildings. It's the problem when it's on tarmac and the engine's off, because that means the ventilation is off. So, again, in that cases, honestly, I personally would still wear a mask, because I think you can end up with a very high, because you don't know other people. There's no way you can figure out on a full plane who's vaccinated, who's not. It's very different in a small gym when you know everybody. If it's a large gym, again, discretion.
How about restaurants?
So restaurants are same to me as any other public facilities. The restaurant's supposed to maintain a distance. That's one thing. They're supposed to put your table at whatever the feet. If you're outside, I would always request outside seating if I can. Right. Judy, I think that's what I would suggest to everybody. Unless the weather is bad and you have to be indoors. If you have to be indoors, the restaurant is not the place where you kind of can talk through the mask, right? I mean, you went there to eat, I'm assuming, and not to look at people. So if that's the case, then you're gonna have to take my mask off. Pretty much all I can say about that. But I do think that in terms of overall safety, we're kind of I think we're heading towards more and more people vaccinated. So Judy, I think it's probably okay. Here's what I would do. I would avoid very crowded bars where you have no.
Oh, that's where I go all the time.
Oh, really? Well,
no, I'm just teasing.
No, I know. And also you may want to consider looking at the restaurants that have very crowded seating a little different also. So, I think common sense really at this point in that question.
All right. I just wanted to see if you were in disagreement of any recommendations of places that you would really use masks that the CDC had said, hey, it's, you don't need to wear them at all if you're vaccinated.
The problem with disagreeing or not disagreeing, my main take on this is this is what I would say. The CDC said that. They said, if you're not sure who's vaccinated, wear a mask. I'm just in a disagreement with only one statement. If you're in a very large group, and despite that everybody vaccinated, but it's very crowded, I would wear a mask. Or I wouldn't go there, frankly, actually. And the reason is, you just can't 100% if it's a large crowd. The moment, remember, this is very dose dependent. So now once you're vaccinated, the only time you may get theoretically significantly sick when you're in a very high inoculum state. So you have to be very close, literally like in a household, like in the same room, face to face, and for a prolonged period of time to get enough inhalation and enough mucous membranes exposures. When you're in a restaurant for half an hour, and you're sitting, 10, 20 feet away from somebody who's potentially sick, even if you get inoculated, you're probably going to get a little. And that's, I think one of me reading the CDC guidelines through the kind of a more careful, I think that's what they're basically saying. They're saying they know that they cannot completely stop the spread. But they also know that people who got vaccinated, no matter how much they get exposed, they're 100% protected against death or very severe illness. So if we are trying to protect ourselves from milder illness, the best thing to do is to decrease inoculum. So the smaller the inoculum, the milder the illness you're going to get. Okay, I think that's Judy's question. Elizabeth asked also a great question that's very pertinent to me, so I'm gonna have a hard time answering this impartially. Can he advise parents or children in the 12 to 15 age group with allergies who got some facial hives that each and the more normal effect of being very tired following their first dose of Pfizer? What, if anything, should they take? Okay, so here's what I would say. They got the first vaccine, they should get the second vaccine. The question is what to do. Remember that protocol that I gave a while back? I would definitely use that protocol for kids. It seems to, well, they're not kids anymore, right? They're teenagers. Definitely would do it.
Could you remind us about the protocol?
Yeah, it's a combination of product called D-Hist, D-Hist, and then 3 homeopathics. Maybe those of you who want to see this protocol, I don't want to put this here in a public domain. It is, after all, proprietary products. So maybe you guys can send an email to Tati and she'll forward them to me, and I'll individually set up the protocol for those people who want. The typical shipping from that distributor is 2 days, so you can get this relatively quickly.
And you can order it off Amazon.
You can. I never recommend ordering supplements or homeopathy from Amazon due to to fake products and near expiration products. So I wouldn't use that. All right. So that's the homework questions. There was a homework topic from 2 or 3 weeks ago, which became irrelevant. And that's all I remembered, because it had something to do with the masking, and now it's not. So I'm skipping that. I remember that I just had to mention that. Okay, so let's just start from the top and go through the questions, see where we end up. So can wearing N95 for more than a year have an impact on brain inflammation? I don't think you mean can wear the same N95 mask for a year. I wouldn't do that, because who knows what's growing on that N95.
No, it's not. And it's
I know. No, yeah, Linda, I don't think so. I mean, the issue is whether or not slight change in oxygenation that's potential is going to do something. No, there's no data. In fact, that maybe the opposite. We do know that elite athletes exercise under restricted air, under restricted oxygen, to enhance exercise capacity. There's a lot of protocols for that. They also sleep with decreased oxygen saturation for that exact purpose. It's a pretty advanced, comprehensive performance enhancement scheme. Some of them are illegal, actually, because they're so effective. But there's no way to test for that. So I personally know athletes who've done sleeping in restricted oxygen chambers, and I would think that you would decrease inflammation, not increase inflammation, right? Oxygen is pro-inflammatory if you have enough of it. We need it, but it causes free radical formation during regular metabolism. But this is all, Linda, this is all theoretical. From perspective of what can happen to you individually, that's a little harder to say, right? It's a combination of things, but I wouldn't worry about that much. How safe is riding the metro if vaccinated? I think quite safe. We talked about it. I would wear a mask in a metro for 2 reasons. So one, because one of the differences when you're on an airplane, it's a bit more controlled environment, because there's not a lot of, people don't move in herds and left and right. The problem with metro, you don't know, if you're sat in a corner and sort of nobody next to you, okay. But if you're standing next to the door and people go in and out and somebody start coughing right next to you, I would just simply wear the mask, because you don't control environment. So I think, Judy, that also goes back to your point of what do you do with the transportation. I think it's safe. I think the metro is supposed to be ventilated. At least that's what they're claiming now, that they're set up filtering systems. I actually don't know that for a fact. That's a great research question. If anybody have time on their hands and would like to, Shirley, if you want to take that on as a homework, I usually answer questions with questions. If you don't mind.
I'll take it on as homework.
Yeah, take it on, take a look. Let's figure out, because I say it's important. I know that in Europe, all the metro cars, there's only a few companies that make them, that they make them standard with a filtering system like planes. I don't know about US. I know Russian old metro was never ventilated. It was one of their concerns, but I think since COVID, they've been changing the updating cars. But again, that's a good question. Benita said something there. Most people keep their masks on. There's always a few who don't. Right. There's no real way of knowing who is vaccinated, who's not. Right. That's another reason why I would probably wear a mask on the train for now. Okay. Salome is saying that. Agree. Okay, Lisa's asking, are you able to talk about GDA? Yes, let's talk about this since you're bringing this up. Have there been any successes statistics? Okay, Elise, let me do this. Let me go see what other questions are. You guys, if anybody have question, put it in now, because otherwise I will go back to Elisa's point and spend the rest of the whatever 7-8 minutes I have on that. So Amtrak, I've heard they have a very advanced filtering system that's been set from the get-go. So Amtrak, I consider closer to the planes. The buses are all over the place. They all have the AC, and the ACs, any car that has an AC, bus, car, truck, whatever, there is a cabin filter. The thing is, though, those filters are not, they're supposed to be HEPA filters, but the problem with them, they almost never work effectively. They're not designed to filter enough because they're not enclosed completely. If you guys seen cabin filters, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Even though they are HEPA filters, like it's just written on the box when you change them. But I don't think they effectively work. So in order for them to be quite efficient, they have to be recased. Their enclosing has to be also completely sealed, and many of them are not. So I don't know what the bus companies are doing. Amtrak has done that. And the Metro, we're going to learn from Sheila. Thank you, Sheila. Okay, what is the latest information of potential danger of variants even? Okay, so good question. As of last week, I have not done my homework on this week. As of last week, still all the vaccines we all gotten showing not as effective, but reasonably good protection. Still 0 deaths and 0 severe illnesses, but the efficacy against especially Indian variant is a little lower. It's closer to 80%, not like 90 plus. So, but and I actually had somebody at the university who faculty, I may have mentioned that. Her and two other family members got sick after vaccine with an Indian strain that was brought in from outside, from Pakistan, actually. So, they all had very mild illness, recovered pretty quickly within a week. Is there any easy way to keep up with CDC statements? I am not aware. Usually what ends up happening is it kind of gets everywhere in the news. I do once a week before the class check the website for updates. But yeah, I think what you can do, just go to their website I'd say once a week. The other option, we can all go together. If everybody wants to do it for the next couple of sessions, we can just do this. We can all go together while I'm sharing screen. And we can just see what's going on. So that's another way we can do it. So, this is their updates, right? This is supposed to be here most up to date. There's a science updates, there's guidance updates. So you can get texts if you want. I get enough text, I don't want this, but you can decide if you want to have a text or call for the vaccine if you want, but then there's all this other updates. So you probably will need to spend a couple of minutes here. I come in here and I check periodically this. That's what I mentioned about the updates on the variants. So they have a whole, all of the updates here. So this is not very well updated, right? So some of this you can't rely on. But of course, some of it is very up to date. So being fully vaccinated, May 16. Okay, also, you can arguably say, come on, May 16 is 10 days ago, more than 2 weeks ago. So, they're do what they're due. But that's when they announced, this is when the vaccinated. This is what we reviewed 2 weeks ago together, because I think that happened Thursday before, day before us. All right, I'm gonna go back. Okay. Okay, I want to go back to Elisa's point. So let me just quickly track. Yeah, so you can't really do much of anything about people not wearing masks. You can give them a look, and you can hope that somebody from a given facility will go through and say, put the mask on. You know. Irene, yeah, you can send me an email, sure. I think you have my email. If not, Tati can give it to you. Do you follow the wear's adverse effects statistics? Not really. I only follow the adverse effects of Johnson & Johnson because I don't know if you guys hear about this, but the amount of clots is dramatically rising. So in the beginning, they said it was 1.5 million. A month later, 1.25 million. Now they're saying 1 in 75,000. So I've just, you know, and then of course, last update. And I'm not going to answer this question, just not. We're not discussing politics here. So please don't ask me anything politics related. But thank you very much for thinking that I will answer this question. I'm not. And I'm not saying optimistic or not. I'm just, you can be frustrated with me and that's fine. And that's about all I'm going to say. So the only other thing on update on side effects, and this is why I'm still waiting with my own kids. I don't know if you heard, but the boys 12 to 15-year-olds, there are multiple cases of heart inflammation after vaccine. The CDC doesn't know how to deal with this. Their statement is we're looking into it. To me, that's not good enough. We don't know the statistics yet. They haven't published, but multiple. It's not 1 or 2. So stay tuned. Nobody died, but heart inflammation called myocarditis is potentially dangerous, life-threatening condition. So I'm going to wait for a few more weeks. Nothing's going to happen, I think, in the short run, but you know, it's consistent with what we know, that definitely vaccines cause some inflammatory response. All right, so I do really want to take a couple of minutes for Elisa's point. So Elise, 30% of mild cases in long-term neurological and other serious system, that appears to be what my understanding is. And this is why I tell all the adults, get shots, because 30% of any cases progressing to long-term neurological or other, well, I wouldn't say serious, I would just say neurological or other long-term defined as 6 months plus. Problems. Some of them are quite serious. As I mentioned, we have hundreds of patients on the wait list, and the average of what I'm seeing, it is pretty scary. I mean, that's all I will say. But those are the patients who've been trying to get to see us for months. So it's a very biased population. We're meaning they're coming to see us because nobody else can help them. So I can tell you the stories that I've now been there for more than a month and seen a number of patients. Some of the patients been mismanaged. I mean, I'm talking malpractice level mismanagement. So I'm not talking about, oh, I forgot to order the test. I'm talking about, you know, heart fluid around the heart missed, possible lung cancer missed. I mean, we're talking about issues that in a day-to-day regular practice will end up in a court. In no questions asked, kind of like that. So why that's happening, it's also pretty obvious. And the reason for that is, you know, the system is overwhelmed. People think everything is COVID. And so they don't think outside of the box. So out of the 8 patients I've seen there, half of them had non-COVID related complications that were simply missed, 50%. You know, I mentioned 2. I mentioned a patient had a scare of a possible lung cancer. We're still working that out. It's just short of breath when walking, and everybody keeps saying, you're going to get better, it's COVID. He comes in on exam, he has a pretty significant findings. We do the ultrasound, there's thickening, we send him for CAT scan, there's possible mass. So like, you know, 6 months went by, all right, 53-year-old lawyer, right, with all the incomes and everything. So what does it tell you? Well, it simply tells you that the system is not set up to be comprehensive. It's set up to be reactive. You have a problem, here's the answer. The problem is if the answer is not so straightforward, you have to think outside of the box. it gets lost in translation all the time. So we're seeing that. So we basically just out of the necessity became kind of a careful, comprehensive Mayo-like clinic seeing those patients. So I think the Mayo-like clinic's going to pop up everywhere now after this because nobody's going to be able to help those patients. Success stories, it's too early for me to say what I'm seeing, so I will hold off, Lisa and I will try to answer that later. Sufficient to say that some of the patients who we do figure out what's wrong with them, we can treat them right away. It's according to Dr. Axelrod, who's seen a lot more patients than me, she thinks that a lot of people get better slowly with very basic supportive care, physical therapy, anti-inflammatory diet, those kind of things. Good news, so far, insurances still cover everything. So if there's a COVID diagnosis, they don't seem to ask any questions. They cover any kind of, I had one of my patients just had her infrared sauna covered because I said that's for her COVID. I've never seen infrared sauna being paid by insurance. I'm just telling you that, man. I've prescribed thousands of them over my career and never seen it before. So it's an unprecedented time, but who's going to get better? I think that the best answer to this question, when we can figure out what's driving patient symptoms, we probably can address it. If not, and the issues are a lot deeper seated and they're actually simply exacerbation of their overarching issues to begin with, and the COVID just kind of was a trigger, it wasn't really the driver, so to speak. I'm not sure. I mean, it depends what the underlying drivers are. And if we can, I had one patient out of this 8 I mentioned, lady came in a wheelchair. She's 550 pounds. And when I said, how much were you? She's like, oh, I was much lighter. I was only 510 pounds pre-COVID. And I'm like, well, I mean, what can I do? She hasn't made a step since COVID. Before COVID, she can stand up and hold a wheelchair. Now she can't stand up, but she's in a nursing home. They do what they can. There's nothing I can offer there, right? So cases like this, there's nothing I can do. So, I mean, this will not be a success story, even though I completely agree with this poor woman that she had a lot of her symptoms get a lot worse after COVID. But what was before COVID it didn't disappear. It's still there, and I have no capacity to address it. Maybe if she had all the money in the world, and we would have put her in a different setting and give her a health coach and exercise trainer, and maybe we could have reverted that. But the reality is, I don't think that's going to happen for her. So, I didn't mean to end on such a bleak note, but I think it's time for our mind-body experience. So I'm going to mute myself and pass it on.
You ready for me? I'm your mind-body person today. I just put a note in the chat, Dr. Kogan, about a study I saw that's not peer-reviewed of German scientists who believe they've figured out why there's a problem with the blood clotting with the viral vector vaccines, AstraZeneca and J&J. So the manufacturers may have a solution. So I'm keeping an eye on that personally.
Yeah, I saw that already. I didn't want to bring it up because it's not confirmed, but I think you're right. I think fingers crossed that's an answer. Again, it's not necessarily as relevant to us, especially those of us who all got Pfizer and Moderna, but still. Yeah. Thank you.
So hi, everyone. I'm Dana Pisanelli. I'm a weekly, most of the time, attendee, and I have led the practice before. So welcome back, and thanks for having me back. I thought in light of, obviously, if we're interested in integrative medicine, we're interested in lifestyle choices that help us improve our health. And we spend a lot of time on diet and movement, exercise, getting outside, getting fresh air, supplements. But one area that we don't spend a ton of time on is rest. And clearly we do these stress relief mindfulness practices that help us relax and can help us induce rest. But specifically for sleep is obviously a really, really important part of maintaining our health. And so I thought with my yogic background as a yoga instructor that I would talk a little bit and then we'd move into a practice that helps you relax and that some people actually use to help them when they're having insomnia, to help them fall asleep in the evening or to go back to sleep if they're waking up in the middle of the night. And if you like the practice, you will have the tape of it that Janet or Tati will send afterwards or post on YouTube that you can use in the event that you do suffer any sort of sleep issues in the future. So in yoga, there's restorative practices, which are a little harder to teach in this forum because they require lots of props, blankets and bolsters and pillows to sort of help your body release and relax. And so that's why I'm not bringing restorative yoga to you today, but it is a form of yoga that I highly recommend to promote relaxation and better sleep. I'm going to bring back to you today something that I brought in last summer. So some of you may have practiced this with me last July, but we may have some new people. And since that was a long time ago, I thought it would be okay to repeat it. And that is Yoga Nidra or Yoga Nidra, which literally means yogic sleep. And if you fall asleep, that's perfectly fine. It happens. Mostly what it is a guided relaxation where the only thing that you will be asked to do is listen to the sound of my voice and follow along, as hopefully it promotes more sense of calm and peace and relaxation of both your mind and body throughout the practice. And you may find that you're slipping in and out of consciousness. That happens, and that's pretty normal. So that's where we're headed for today. And we'll start by either asking you if you have the space to lie down. It's typically done in Shavasana or final relaxation pose. So if you have access to a sofa or a bed or a floor and that's comfortable for you, feel free to take a moment to get yourself comfortable on the floor. But it's perfectly fine to do Yoga Nidra while seated. I just suggest that you have your both feet on the floor, that you might want a support or something for your back so that you're not working your muscles to over effort to keep yourself upright. Hands may be in your lap or resting on the arms of the chair. You just want to be as comfortable as you possibly can be so that you can maintain stillness throughout the practice of Yoga Nidra. Of course, if you start to feel any sense of discomfort, physical discomfort during the practice, feel free to adjust. Take a moment to find your seat, your comfortable seat, or your position on the floor or the bed. I'm going to put up a lovely scene here. And just begin by tuning into your breath. Sensing it coming in and out through the nose. Closing your eyes if that's comfortable for you. Just noticing the quality of the breath today. Shallow or deep. Smooth or choppy. Paying attention to the sensation as it comes in and as it leaves. And with each breath, seeing if you can just slow it down, make it gentle, smooth and steady. Allowing your mind to let go of any distractions or worries. Coming to a place of stillness. Simply following the sound of my voice throughout the practice, remaining awake and aware, practicing Yoga Nidra. Bring your attention to any sounds that you're hearing other than the sound of my voice, outside the room or inside the room, without labeling or judging. Notice the sensation being seated or lying on the ground. Your body is touching the ground with a chair. Tuning into your heart. Like to set an intention for the practice in Yoga Nidra, we set what is called a sankalpa, the desire of the heart. But if you choose, you may repeat to yourself silently, affirmation of sorts in the present tense. I'm whole, I'm healthy, I'm calm, I'm open to learning. If you choose not to set an intention, that's perfectly fine too. Now we'll begin what is called a rotation of consciousness through the body while remaining still. Simply allow your mind to move from part to part without actually moving the body part that's mentioned. Begin by bringing your attention to your right hand, being aware of the right thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, pinky finger, palm of the right hand, back of the hand, wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, armpit, right side of the body to the waist, right hip, right thigh, knee, lower leg, ankle, heel, top of the right foot, sole of the right foot, big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe. Become aware of your whole right leg and foot, whole right arm and hand, whole right side of your body. Bring your attention to your left hand, thumb, second finger, third, fourth finger, pinky finger, the left palm, back of the hand, wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, left side of the body from armpit to waist, left hip, thigh, knee, lower leg, ankle, heel, top of the left foot, sole of the left foot, big toe, second toe, third, fourth toe, fifth toe, whole left leg and foot, whole left arm and hand, whole left side of the body. Now bring your attention to the back of your body, becoming aware of the back of your head, back of your neck, tops of your shoulders, the right shoulder blade, left shoulder blade, the length of your spine, right glute, left glute, the entire back body. Drawing your awareness to the top of your head, moving to the front of the body. Draw your awareness to your right temple, left temple, right eyebrow, left eyebrow, eyebrow center, your right eye, left eye, right cheek, left cheek, right nostril, left nostril, upper lip, lower lip, chin, throat, right side of the chest, left side of the chest, middle of the chest, navel, abdomen, pelvis, the whole front of your body, whole back of the body, both legs together, both arms together. Feel the whole body together. Awake and aware, feel your whole physical body still and relaxed, softening and resting. Bring your awareness once again to your breath. A gentle rise and fall of the chest. Expansion and contraction of the rib cage. Rise and fall of the belly. Inhale and exhale. Begin to count 10 down to 1. Inhaling 10. Slowly exhaling 10. Counting to yourself. Inhaling 9. Exhaling 9. Continuing till you reach 1. Continue counting until you hear my voice again. Wherever you are, you can stop counting. Move on to the sensation of various feelings in the body. beginning with the sensation of heat. Outside, scorching hot summer day. Hot, dripping with sweat. Allow that sensation of heat to fade away. Experience the sensation of intense cold. Standing in snow, the wind is howling, frigid winter night. Body shivering. Allow the sensation of cold to fade away. Awaken now to the sensation of wet. Walking outside through a torrential rainstorm. Clothes are drenched and sticking to your skin. Allow the wet sensation to dissipate. Bring on the sensation of being dry. Walking slowly in the most arid desert in the world. Your skin feels parched and dry. Your throat like sandpaper. Allow the sensation of intense dryness to leave you. Imagine the whole body becoming light, light as a feather, so you could float up and away to the ceiling or the sky, totally weightless. Allow the sensation of lightness to fade away. Imagine your body becoming heavy. All parts of the body weighted down, sinking down into the floor, the ground. Allow the sensation of heaviness to dissipate. Continue breathing slowly and smoothly. Awake and aware. Bring your attention with your eyes closed to the dark space behind your eyelids. Called the screen of the mind. You need to remain aware of the space without becoming involved. What we call detached awareness. Name a number of different things to envision, memory or imagination, as best you can. Letting the image appear on the screen of the mind and disappear as you hear the next one. Peacock feather. Buddha meditating. Doctor's office. Comfortable bed. Full moon. Your reflection smiling in a mirror. bouquet of flowers, laughing with friends, a path in the woods, vibrant sunset, dog barking, favorite song, warm embrace. Feel yourself being embraced, relaxed and letting go. Envision a burning candle. Stare intently at the flame. A sense of calm washes over you. Feel at peace. You need nothing as you continue to gaze into the candle flame. Drop into deep meditation. Letting any thoughts pass by. Continue breathing slowly, steadily, smoothly, and gently. As you're gazing at the flame, set an intention at the beginning of practice, a sankalpa, heart's desire. Forth and repeat it to yourself 3 times. Belief, deep belief in the truth of your affirmation. Allow the screen of the mind to clear. Any images slowly fade away. Bring your attention back to the breath. Let it flow in and out through the nostrils. Developing a sense of awareness of your physical relaxation. Your body touches the chair or the floor. Visualizing the room where you're experiencing Yoga Nidra, the ceiling, the floor, the walls around you. Beginning to notice any sounds, ambient noise. Bring yourself back into the room, back into the present moment. Gently move your toes or circle your ankles. Circle your wrists, wiggle your fingers. Like to stretch, clasp your hands together and lift them overhead. Give yourself a nice stretch. Let your head just turn from side to side. Your body craves. Eyes are still closed. Just take a few more deep breaths as we complete the practice of Yoga Nidra. When you're ready, open your eyes. Take a moment to pause and feel. I hope there's a sense of peace and calm. So welcome back, everyone. Last time I led this practice, Dr. Kogan was out in the country and was distracted by some sort of insect. I think it might have been a bee. Apparently today it was cicadas. I hope you used that to hone your awareness and that you enjoyed the practice of Yoga Nidra.
Thank you
Thank
very
you all.
much. Everybody have a great weekend. We're right on time. Enjoy festivities. Don't overeat and overdrink. I see Nadia shaking her head violently. Does that mean you will overeat and overdrink? You know, in Russian language, you have to be careful to what
Oh,
you
yeah.
say no, because it's often reverse.
Yeah. Well, everything in moderation.
Exactly. All right. Well, I think we can all agree that doing a little bit of a barbecuing outside will do us some good. You don't have to barbecue meat, you can barbecue vegetables. And we'll see you all soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you.